Hi, and welcome to this Inside Scoop. Today, our guest is Olivia King. She is a singer, songwriter, and entrepreneur. And if you watch her website, you'll see that she does a lot more than those things. But I'm so excited to have you on our show, Olivia, because you have already accomplished so much and you're still relatively young. So, can you share us a little bit about who you are and how you got to this point?
Sure, yeah. So my name is Olivia King. You hit the main points. The singer, songwriter, entrepreneur. I always had kind of the entrepreneurial spirit, and I feel like you have to, especially in the music industry now, with being an independent artist, being like almost more popular than being a major label artist at this point. A lot of artists want to have control over their music and when they release it and what they release. And I always had like this stigma associated to the word indie artist, that it was like bad and that means you're not successful. And so I always wanted to be signed to a major label. But once I started seeing other artists doing it and like making it cool and they were being super successful on their own, I was like, dang, okay, I think I have the confidence to do this on my own. So in 2017 I released my first single, and that was right after kind of getting screwed in a deal with a label. I had kind of been chasing after that for a while, and I wanted that to be my path and wanted to be a signed artist. And so it was 6 months of us kind of going back and forth and working together and already working on music with no signed contract. And then I signed the contract and sent it over to them and had like a whole signing party with my family at my house. And while we were celebrating this signing, I got an email saying like they pulled the deal. And I was like, what are you talking about? And it was just like crushing. And I was like, what the heck am I going to do now? Like, I don't have a team now. I don't have a manager. I don't have a label. And my now fiance was like, Liv, you've been doing this by yourself forever. Like, you should just do it officially by yourself. Who cares? If people want to come on once you start going, great. But like, the train's always moving. And, he was right with that. And so in 2017, right after I kind of got screwed in that, I quickly released a single, and we put up sticky notes on a wall in our house, and it was all marketing ideas for the first single, whether it was good, bad, stupid, crazy, it was up there and we tried it. And the song ended up getting about 500,000 streams, and I didn't pay for anything. It was just like all organic marketing ideas that were creative and different, and got kind of on the Spotify playlisting train a little bit earlier than most, and was just doing a barter system with these Spotify playlist curators and finding them on Facebook, matching up their face to their name on Spotify, and really just saying like, hey, if you add my song to your playlist, I'll give you a shout out on my Instagram. At the time, my Instagram was decently big, and so it was worth it for them to get that shout out. And so got 500,000 streams on that first song. I was like, okay, I think I can do this on my own. This was just the first one. And so I just decided to be really consistent and release a single just about every month. And I've made that a point to do ever since. So now we're like 4 years in, and I've released probably like 40 songs or something, and really try to be consistent, because consistency is like what I preach. No matter what industry you're in, if you are consistent, like you're bound to be successful, because you're always going to be top of mind for people
Yeah.
who are watching you. So that's kind of like the little backstory on how I got started. And then just from there, I just made sure that I was consistent and networking as much as possible. I always thought I needed to be in a big city, but I tried to prove to myself that that was wrong, just by connecting with people on social media. And I do this thing called 10 people a day, and I reach out to 10 new people a day on Instagram and just connect with them. I kind of do my research on them before and see what would be the smartest way to kind of partner up with them and pitch that to them and just make friends really in the industry. And that has helped me get as far as I have. Like everything that's on my resume, I feel like 99% of it is attributed to those, like the 10 people a day thing that I've been doing.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because they always say your network is your net worth. And yeah, of course, that can only help you speed up things on the journey that you're in. Can you tell me, Olivia? I'm so curious because you're doing all these amazing things, but how did you get to do this? How did you figure out that? Did you always want to be a singer, songwriter, or is that something you grew into?
I feel like that was always a thing I wanted to do ever since third grade when I started kind of singing in my church choir and doing solos and performing. Just even at church, I was like, I really like this. I really love performing. And then once I hit the end of high school, I started songwriting. And even though I went to college, I was just saying this on my live stream actually, like my parents told me I did not have to go to college. And that's not something that normal parents, I feel like, say. They're like, you need to get an education. But my parents just knew that I had the entrepreneurial spirit and knew that music is what I always wanted to do. And there was no real plan B for me. Like, I felt like if I had a plan B, it distracted from my plan A. So they told me I didn't have to go to college, but at the time, all my friends were going. It seemed like the right thing to do. And so I went. But literally, like every night when my friends were going out to a party, I was in my dorm writing music and recording music and kind of wanted them out of my dorm so that I could record music and write it. And the one party I did go to, I met the guy I'm marrying. So it was worth
Oh
going
my
to one.
God.
It was worth going to a party or two. So it, it worked out. But I met so many people in college that, I was just saying this on my live stream. I met the guy who writes all my songs with me. I met my backup dancers. I met my now fiance. I met who's now my best friend. Like I met so many people there that the investment was worth the relationships. But I've never used my degree because I just always knew what I wanted to do. So I got my degree while I was still kind of working on music. So it's been something that I knew was like my destiny. I was destined to do this, and there's nothing that I feel more passionate about than music.
Yeah, and if I hear you share the story, then the focus and the passion were the two main things that were driving you and that made you take those next steps, probably because you already had done so much work in college, not even doing that professionally, but that's some great preparation there. So
I wish I was a communication major, but I wish I went for like business or marketing or something instead. I mean, communication you can use for anything, but I think I love the business side of music just as much as I love the creating side of music, which I don't think a lot of artists are really like that. I feel like they're just zoned in on creative mode, but for me, it's like making the music is awesome, but like being able to put it in front of as many eyes and ears as well, like that is just as awesome to me. So I love being creative on the business side too, to see different things in different ways that I can get my music out there that maybe hasn't been done before.
yeah, that is indeed something that you don't very often hear, because most of the times the artists I work with, they very often are very much in the creative zone, but then they get stuck in putting it into work. Or like I'm working with this actor, and he is very much like you say, and the creative part and the driven entrepreneurial spirit. But then there's the challenge of losing yourself and just going too fast because you're juggling all these balls.
Yeah.
And that can create like this huge chaos in your mind, especially because most creative people, most artists, they are highly sensitive people, meaning that the brain is going in overtime.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it has a deeper way of processing information, why you are so good at what you do, but also leading to this little, I like to compare it with like your computer. It's this little computer that just keeps on going.
Yeah.
And then you get those sleepless nights, or you can't find peace anymore. And how is that for you?
Yeah, it's very true. I think it's definitely difficult to balance like being true to yourself as an artist and zoning in on just that, and then like thinking of, okay, is this marketable? Like it becomes a bit like you are a business, so it's like it's weird to sell a product that is yourself. And that's like I can never shut my brain off. So it's funny that you're explaining that. Like if you ask my fiance, you ask my mom, you ask my closest friends, family, they know like I can't not work. Like if I'm sitting and we're supposed to be watching a movie, I'm on my phone and I'm doing my 10 people a day, or I'm sending emails, or like I just need to be productive at all moments. And my fiance is good about like working smarter, not harder. And I've tried to do that, and he's very good about taking breaks during the day and playing little games on his phone, or just chilling and watching TV so his brain can kind of recoup. He's an entrepreneur as well. We actually own an influencer marketing agency, so we work on that together. And so owning your own business, it's like you your business hours are 24/7. Like it's not something where it's a 9 to 5 and then you go home and you don't have to think about it, and you think about it at 9 a.m. the next morning. So it's it's been a real struggle for me to try to balance like personal life with business life, because I enjoy the business aspect so much, so it doesn't feel like work, but it's still stress on my body and on my brain. And um, it's something that I definitely struggle to maintain a good balance. I'm not very good at that.
Okay, but wow, thanks so much for sharing that and opening up to that, because on one side, of course, that's why you can juggle all those balls and why you get a million things done that other people think to themselves, I don't know when I should work out today, but they have 2 hours that they're in front of the TV and you are like, just making this work and going at it, which is amazing. But yeah, if I hear you, I think you want to do this on the long term, and then it's probably interesting to integrate some little routines. And I do love the fact that you told us like consistency is key, and the same thing works for your brain, because our brain is so trained to keep switching all the time, especially for people like you who have to juggle all those balls. It's like being so flexible and adapting from one thing to another. So when you would have the time to sit outside on your terrace and be in the sun and just sit there and do nothing, your brain would be like almost anxious because it's like, what the fuck, I need to do something.
That's exactly
And
how I feel.
yeah, yeah, I get that. I'm exactly the same. So I do know how that feels, but it is really interesting if you can just integrate those little moments of, okay, you know what? This is a moment of training. I'm training my brain to just read, even if it's 5 minutes, it doesn't have to be an hour. We can recharge a lot faster than we think. But if you do it the right way, you can do in 5 minutes like this huge coming to yourself and relax and giving that brain some peace of mind, leading it to be able to go at it so much stronger afterwards. And it's it's in the silence that new inspiration can be born as well. So I would be, I think we would all be blown away to see if if you would be doing that, what would happen with your business, because I think you wouldn't be able to keep up with that probably, because there's going to be so much inspiration. But what has been your biggest challenge in your journey from starting out to where you're at today? What was the biggest challenge you had to overcome, and how did you do that?
There have definitely been a lot of challenges. I feel like there are so many closed doors in the music industry. It's like music is so subjective. So you could love my music, but the next person could think it's trash. Like it it's not something where you're good or you're bad. Like people just have different opinions about it. It's so subjective. So I've had probably the hardest time trying to find my correct audience. And once I found that, like I really niched out and got going. But in addition to that, it's just like trying to find people in the industry that are trustworthy. Like it's unlike any other business. Like there's not many industries where people can pretend that they're something that they're not. Like I can't tell you how many times I've fallen for people who reach out to me on Instagram or email me whatever and say, hey, I found this artist and this artist, and I made them the superstar that they are. I think you have the potential. I want to take you under my wing. I want to do this and this. I fly out to do something, and it's like there's no chance this person was who they said they are. And so that's been like I think the biggest struggle for me is finding people that are trustworthy and do like really good work and also work as hard as I do, because I don't like to have people on my team that I have to be on top of, like, hey, you need to do this or you need to do that. Like I'd much prefer them to just kind of be at my level and be pushing me to be better instead of like me trying to push them to be better. So it's, I mean, there's a lot of challenges. I think those are like my top three, but it's definitely hard to do. And I I overcame a lot of that. I don't know if this is good or bad, but like by just relying on myself. Like I can't rely on anyone else. So I figured out, like I was having issues with producers and they were taking so long to get a beat to me, and then once they got it to me, all of a sudden like everything changed. They're like, oh, you owe me $10,000, and I'm like, what? That wasn't our agreement. And so I was just having issues. So with production, I was like, I need to learn how to just produce my own songs at this point. And so that's what I did. I taught myself how to make my own beats, and taught myself how to shoot my own cover art, have like a whole home studio so I can just do everything myself. And then if people want to come in and help out, awesome, but like that train is always moving and I can do it fast and just rely on me.
That's amazing. And oh, I wish there were so many more artists who could do that, because that's probably the hardest thing in the industry, to stay true to yourself and rely on yourself. So yeah, really big kudos that that is something that you've brought to the party, especially when you've been let down by people so much, because then it is easy to start doubting yourself, right? When you come in those situations. So I talked a little bit about high sensitivity. Is that something that you recognize in yourself, being a highly sensitive artist?
I would say yes and no. Like I don't, there's never been a second where I've thought I should quit. Like that has never once crossed my mind. Like even when that whole big deal fell through, like 5 minutes after I was done like crying about it, I was like, all right, how are we going to make this single and how are we going to push it out as fast as possible? Like it was never any like, oh, poor me. It lasted for a couple minutes and then I was like, all right, switch is flipped, let's just move on from it. So I'm not like a dweller on things. I like to just kind of take it as it is and move on. I definitely have a thick skin, but I would say all artists are sensitive about maybe the content that they create. So if I show like I've gotten to be where I like hate showing people my music before I put it out because someone could hate it and someone could love it. And then I start doubting myself. So I've started to just kind of like zone in, do my thing and release it. And if you like it, great. If you don't, you don't. Because it's hard to hear. Like after you pour your heart out in a song and someone's like, it's okay. And then it's like, oh, I just worked on this and poured everything out in it. So I think that's the only time that I'm really sensitive, but like people telling me no or that I'm not good enough or, anything like that, I'm not sensitive to that.
But that's great. And that's the big difference between two groups of highly sensitive people, because we have when we didn't feel safe growing up, or when something happened to us, and we developed this, it's called rejection sensitivity. I've struggled with that for a long time, and that means that you're in this sort of self-fulfilling prophecy that it's going to let you down anyway, so you're already creating the situation. But when you grew up feeling safe, feeling like you were able to be yourself and you could fail and you could you get support, then that is not an issue. So that's when highly sensitive people get to really own their capacities, because that creativity and the fact that you had that setback, but your brain is already thinking about a million possible opportunities to release that single. That is how our brain functions, being highly sensitive, because the right hemisphere is more activated. So it's so interesting to see how many skills we actually possess. But when we're not when we're not feeling secure about ourselves, then that can just be overshadowed by the insecurity. So I'm amazed to see, you must have had a very supportive environment growing up, right? Or do you
Yeah,
experience that otherwise?
yeah, I definitely did. My family wasn't musical at all, so they didn't really have any insight into the music industry. My brother plays professional baseball, and it was always kind of like a sports family. And then it was like me that did music. My grandfather played sports. My dad was big into sports. He played college sports and whatnot. And so they were like very into his path. Not that they weren't into mine, they just didn't know. And they were very supportive, but didn't know how to like coach me on like what I should do or what I shouldn't do. So they kind of helped me navigate when I was super young, and then I kind of just went off on my own and figured it out. My dad was a television news anchor, so he was in the entertainment business, but it's a lot different than the music industry. So I definitely had a lot of support growing up. And then once I kind of got out of my parents' house, I've just figured it out on my own.
That's amazing. That's really powerful. That's really owning your inner strength. And that's just a pure example for a lot of people who can actually learn something from that. So thank you so much for sharing. I have one more question. What is next for you? What's the big vision that you see for yourself for the future?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot that I see for myself. There's At the beginning of every year, I used to put together vision boards, but now I just kind of put together a list of things and kind of like look back at it every month and be like, okay, have I done that? Am I on the path to that? Just kind of in every aspect of my life, my personal life, my career, my friends, whatever I want to be better at that year, I kind of put down on paper. And so I would say like the biggest goal for me, I don't care so much, and I guess this just comes with it, but I don't really care so much about like fame. It's more just like helping people through my music. Like the best, like when I feel most successful, it's when someone messages me and they're like, thank you so much for creating this song. It helped me get over a breakup. Like that's what I care about the most, is like actually touching a nerve with people with my music, and whether that helps them leave a toxic relationship or, you know, motivates them to be something that they want to be. It's like those messages that I get from people listening to my music, that's when I'm like, okay, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I just want to like reach as many eyes and ears as possible, just to help them and get those responses, because to me that's like the epitome of success, is even if it's just helping one person in their life. Like music can really change lives. Like it's crazy because it seems, you know, not stupid, but it's crazy that like one song can really help you through a time. And I mean, other people's music has done that for me. Get over a breakup, you know, get in a happier mood, you know, let out my feelings listening to a sad song. It's just like music is so therapeutic. And so that's like, I just want to tap into as many people as I possibly can. And just music, like my fiance always tells me, like, who cares really about like the money or the success or the fame that comes with your music? Like the coolest part about you releasing music is it lives on forever. Like you put that music out there and people could listen to it after you are long gone. And it's definitely true. It's like something that you can leave behind as your legacy, and have your grandchildren and great grandchildren and all these people listen to it even when you're not like physically here anymore. So that's what I try to keep telling myself, like just put out quality music that can help people through their days for the rest of time.
Yeah, so actually really have an impact on people's lives.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I totally see that for you. And I would amplify that with your personal happiness and your
Yeah.
personal inner peace. And that would just be amazing if you can just combine those two, and then you'll be on top of the world. And it's like you say, it's not about fame, it's not about fortune, it's all about creating impact.
Yeah.
And there's nothing as fulfilling as reaching the hearts of people and knowing that you were with them by the thing that you've put all your passion and love and energy in. So wow, I really love that. And is there, like, to close off, is there like one tip you would give other artists who are working on their road to success?
Probably just going back to like my first thing is just preaching consistency. Like no matter what you do, if you're consistent, you're staying at the top of mind for everyone that's watching. And I always say, like, I've never heard anyone say I worked my ass off and never got anywhere. And that's what like being consistent will do. Like you are working hard. And also it's about like putting out quality content every time. It's not so much about just like putting out as much as you can. It's making sure that you're consistent with quality content that like you are proud to release. So it's not so much like, it's definitely quality over quantity, but to me it's like quality and quantity, like both, and just go hard, because there's so many people that like fall off for a few months and I'm like, where'd they go? And then I forget about them, and then they're back on social media and it's like, oh, okay, you're back. It's just important to be consistent.
Yeah,
The
100%.
the attention span of people in 2021 is like, you need to catch them and capture their attention, because they're on to the next thing if you're not consistently entertaining them.
Yeah, that's true, because there's so much overstimulation everywhere, and we're like these. We have in Belgium this expression. chicken without heads, you know, they're just like walking around, not knowing where they're going. And I think we're all a little bit like that these days.
Yeah, so
But yeah, 100%. And that's where you get back to that focus that you already brought into the aspect of your life in college, and that you're bringing to the party now. And I see the same thing in my kind of work. It's not just to create a great business or to become successful as a singer or songwriter or entrepreneur. It's also the same if you work with a personal trainer. It is also eating consistently healthy foods. If you work, for example, with me, it's the same thing. It's consistently doing the inner work.
yeah.
So that's just probably the biggest gift you can give yourself, by just sticking to it consistently. And even if it's just one thing, just work through it. Wow, thank you so much, Olivia. This was amazing. I really loved having this chat with you, and I am looking forward to seeing what is going to be next for you, and the songs that you're going to release, and the other artists that you're going to keep inspiring as well, because that's what you do too. So thank you so much for your time, and hope to see you soon.
Yeah, of course. Thanks so much for having me.
Bye.